I could not believe Merrick Garland, the AG, destroyed a congressional grilling. And the things that came out were honestly, infuriating. Jacob, we'll start with you. We watched the video together, him being asked questions about, the threats against the Supreme Court justices. He did nothing about it, about coming in and taking away pro-life, like that young man that was taken away in front of his children with gun drawns. It is the infiltration, they said, which, the agency infiltrating the Catholic Church and finding out that they're anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant, LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ and white supremacist theology coming against them. It's clear that the DOJ has one agenda: silence any dissidents against the government, basically persecute religious people of any sort, of any kind. And of course, if you believe in abortion, then if you're anti-abortion, you're also on that list. Jacob, you ever seen anything like this, DOJ weaponized to this degree?
Yeah, of course. J. Edgar Hoover has always, from the time of J. Edgar Hoover and the Contrapro in the 1960s, the Contrapro program, the FBI has always been a political Gestapo. It has always been a political police force that has no right to exist in the realm of national security. It has always been that. It's just that it went from a anti-socialist one to a pro-socialist one. That's all. But it's always been corrupt. The FBI has never had any integrity. From the time of Hoover, it has never had any integrity. It never should have been allowed to be involved in counterintelligence. It never should have been part of the national security apparatus. That just went back to the rivalry between Dulles and Hoover. It was all political. And Hoover was corrupt. The FBI has never been any good. It's just that it shifted from the pseudo-right to the pseudo-left. That's the only thing it's done. Now, Garland is obviously an enemy of democracy. He's an unprincipled man who ought to die in federal prison with Fauci in the next cell. That is obvious. He's a wicked, wicked man. He is saying, no one theologically opposes Roman Catholicism more than I do. It is morally bankrupt with the pedophilia, etc. But to go after Catholic people who are pro-life Catholics and put them on terrorist watch lists, basically, this is an outrage. This is not about Catholicism. You're attacking Catholics. If you don't agree with us, you're a potential threat. White supremacism. White supremacism is not even a minute fraction of what it was in the Jim Crow South. It's invented. It's magnified out of all proportion to anything that's left of it. It's only a vestige of what it was in the 1950s and early 60s. Only a vestige. There is far more racism in the Black community now than there is in the white community. Far more. They're believing this lie that white supremacism still exists. Well, you'll always have some rednecks who are like that. But it's nothing like existed in Jim Crow, which I remember. Nothing. The real problems in the Black community are absentee fatherhood and a school system that's designed to fail. Those are the things that are destroying Black America, on top of the abortion rate among Black children, with 3 out of 4 of them being born out of wedlock, and in some cities, 7 out of 10 aborted babies being Black. These are the problems. But instead of blaming the real problems, which all come from the Democratic Party, the teachers' unions, just a political campaign fund for the Democrats, a school system designed to keep Black people stupid. It's designed, intentionally designed. It is funded to keep Black people stupid and reliant on affirmative action programs to get ahead. A welfare state, Barack Obama, the food stamp president, designed to replace a Black husband and father with food stamps and a welfare check. Okay, these are the things that are responsible for the lack of upward mobility in Black America. why Asians and Hispanics are climbing the socioeconomic ladder while Black people stay in the puddle of mud they've always been in, by and large. It is the fault of the very people they vote for. Yet they say it's the fault of white supremacism. Yeah, okay, it's the fault of white supremacism. What Malcolm X warned about, and I'm no fan of Malcolm X, but he said a lot of true things. The most dangerous thing to Black Americans is white liberals.
Very true. Sandy, is this something that it's ever growing, but are we seeing the rise of persecution here in America?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just growing, and with the cancel culture and everything, with people being afraid to actually stand up. I mean, it really reminds me of Germany with Hitler, I mean, people were afraid to say anything because they were afraid of being arrested or killed or whatever it may be. That's the direction we're headed. And you're not going to be able to speak your mind anymore. You're going to have to, kowtow to whatever the going thing is. And it's a Marxist plot against the freedoms that we have in the United States. And I don't think the ship can be righted, to tell you the truth. It's up to the Lord, but I don't see it.
It's already happening in England and Canada.
Yes.
When a woman across the street from an abortion clinic, not in front of it, across the street, was silently praying to herself.
What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing here.
Okay. Why here of all places? I know you don't live nearby.
But this is an abortion centre.
Okay. That's why you're still here. Is you standing here part of the protest?
No. I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I might be praying in my head out loud.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken public spaces protection?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the Public Spaces Protection Order, which is under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014. Now, of course, you do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given in words. Do you understand the caution?
I do.
Yeah.
And when asked what she was praying about, not blocking the clinic, which was across the street from it, the police arrested her.
Yeah.
Thought police. This is in Britain.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Let's talk about
what Trudeau is doing in Canada. That man is Eichmann. That man, I would put him in the same moral category as Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah, let's talk about the Canada. When a Canadian pastor in Calgary was arrested for protesting a drag queen story hour at a local library, he was thrown out. He was manhandled, thrown out. Police was called because he protested the sexualization of little children. His name is Derek.
These were babies.
Yeah.
Less than 2 years old.
So Canada has become an atheist totalitarian state,
Yes.
like the ones we've seen in other countries, like in China, like in Russia, like in France. If you believe you're the highest form of authority, and then others believe that it's God who's the highest form of authority, of course there's a conflict because there's a God complex here. Remember in Canada, they voided your bank account, they froze your assets, they took your truck if you showed any disloyalty to the regime, right? So this man was Derek Ramier. He was a warrant was set out for his arrest. They visited his home. They said, "What am I being charged with?" Well, disruption of the peace. Then the warrant came out and they arrested him, and they arrested him for a hate crime. Now, Jay, what do you think? That this is a hate crime protesting the sexualization of little children?
While Canada might be an atheist country, they take their tactics from the Spanish Inquisition. You will accept what we want you to accept, or you will need to be re-educated.
Ooh.
You will accept homosexuality and drag queen story hour, or we're putting you in the dungeon until you're ready to repent.
Absolutely. And I mean, they're just only one tiny step ahead of the US. We're
Yeah.
almost, I mean, look at California and some of the other places. They're already there.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it. Now, Jacob, where are the Christian leaders? This man was arrested for protesting
Christian
things that as
leaders?
Christian. Where's Rick Warren? Where's Beth Moore? Where's Francis Chan? Where's Bill Johnson? Where's Tim Keller? Are they
Those
talking about
theocratic opportunists. They're not leaders. They're hirelings. They're false
Christians
teachers.
pastors are being arrested in the West, and not a peep from the famous Christian so-called leaders. Not a peep.
Not a
They'll
people.
talk about revival coming, but I don't see revival coming in every place. I see persecution revival in every
No,
place.
they will
may be
stand with
revivals in certain
They
places.
will stand with the apostate church against the faithful church because it is in their interest financially to do so.